Hello, everyone. Welcome to block party number 84, Orwellian 84. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, James from Cork, Ireland. Welcome, Ray from Toronto, Canada. And Ray gets the Canadian television rights to this recording. Exclusive for Canada. You want to do stuff with this video in Canada, you got to talk to Ray. Okay. James has the rights for Ireland, all of Ireland, however James defines that, the Irish Kingdom, the ones that hung on. And we've got Marco in Michigan, and yours truly, Jamin Shively, in what is becoming increasingly the Republic of Whidbey Island, in the state of Washington, or should I say formerly in the state of Washington, because they're slashing ferry service, but that's another question. We'll get to all that. Really, it's insane. Collapse is happening. That's part of what we have to share today, not as good news, but as a wake-up call, because the bottom line is we can solve it. We can actually solve it. So we're going to cut right to the chase on that. And I'm going to share a thing called a thing, but my point is, that is not my thing. And when you hear me say it in the following tonality, you'll know that it refers to a specific video that we're about to watch. That is not my thing. That is not my thing. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the origin of that, which is called That Is Not My Talk.
Oh my God, what happened to James? He just disappeared.
All right.
He just flashed out of existence. For the
Anyway,
benefit of those who watch the recording later.
Speaking of, no, we are recording now. And speaking of newsflash, as was indicated at the beginning of that recording, Canadian rights and Irish rights are not, assumed for what we screen shared. Anyway, that's that Pink Panther video. Must see the link below. Like, literally stop watching this recording and see the link below in the description before you continue, because it's a must see. But anyway, so one of the interesting things, obviously it was his dog. And even if it like technically wasn't his dog, but it was the neighbor's dog, but it come to hang out there to eat dog treats and pee and whatever, great. But the reality is it is his dog. Why? Because it's everyone's dog. And that's part of it. See, our world problems that we say, how many times do you hear somebody say, oh, that's not my issue? Right? Doesn't that just
way too many times?
Oh my God, that's not my issue. I'm not into that. I mean, good for you that you're into it, as if that is not my dog. Anyway, so when I say that is not my thing, I just want to invoke all that complexity and all that humor, right? Because we're going to talk about some pretty powerful things here. And I just want to be clear that is not my thing, in the sense that it's a bunch of other people's ideas, right? That have been kind of cobbled together, or more agglomerating. It's not like anyone is doing the cobbling. They're just coming together. But anyway, let me screen share to be specific. You guys, please jump in with any comments at any time. That's my one question. Any comments, any questions at any time, just jump in. Don't raise your hand. Just jump in. Okay, fair enough.
I have other copyrighted stuff that would reference this quite interestingly. Well, I can share the video but I'm not sure if you want to do it while it's recording.
We can. Why don't we get through this, and then we can take a pause and check it out, and maybe continue recording. Is that fair? Because you've got the Canadian television rights to this, so you have a lot to say. All right, but we're going to go through some slides.
We have dozens of viewers.
Anyway, let's talk about big truths and big lies, right? Did you know that manufacturing consent, Noam Chomsky, that was made by Canadians? That's the truth. And speaking of big truths, collapse is happening. That's one. Ray, I was just sharing that they've cut down half the ferry service to all the islands of the state of Washington. They've let go of like half their staff. Collapse is happening. We've all heard about the logistics, supply chain, this, that, the other. The planet, meanwhile, the planet is burning and melting exponentially on a time frame of just crashing through the last critical tipping points around summer of 2022 or 23 at the latest, which of course would just add just oceans of gasoline to an otherwise campfire, just more than gas to the fire, just unimaginable gas onto the fire of collapse that's already happening just with our current level of freaking overheating, which is off the charts. But the point is it's exponentiating from there. Good news, we can stop both. The key is the thing. But we have to watch out for some big lies. One is that, oh, we got this, with our current paradigm and systems and all that. Joe Biden and team are on top of it. What a laugh, right? Even you Canadians must be laughing your snow-covered, what's off over that. Anyway, oh, we got this. Oh, and then, the planet thing. Oh, no. Here's the big lie. Listen to this. Speaking of manufacturing consent, Noam Chomsky, made by the Canadians. And wait till you hear this. You might have read it already if you get the New York Times daily feed. Lead story in the New York Times. Okay. Good morning. I'm just reading word for word. I'm not skipping a single word. Good morning. We visit a Russian town on the Arctic Ocean that sees climate change as an economic opportunity. You see how it starts off with something positive? You can make money off of climate change. And then it shows a picture of a meteorologist up there measuring temperature in Pevek. A dispatch from the Arctic. Climate change adaptation can be a difficult subject to discuss. Thinking about how society will adjust to the consequences of climate change seems to smack of defeatism. The more urgent question, many scientists say, is what the US and the world will do to minimize the damage. Without aggressive action to reduce carbon emissions over the next decade, that damage has the potential to be horrific, right? Noam Chomsky, please pay attention to this. Let's get this video, let's get this recording to Noam. He needs to hear this, because the New York Times is essentially the newspaper of record for history. Well, what happened? Oh, go back to the 1893 New York Times, and that's what happened. Bullshit. Those are what lies were spun on that day. So this is the big lie. We can solve this by drastically reducing carbon emissions over the next decade. It is so Orwellian. We hear it like a drumbeat, and it's completely false. And then the third big lie is you. If you take care of you, which could include you and yours, right? You and your family, you and your extended family, you and your friends, you and your class, you and your race, you and your tribe, you and your neighborhood. You. If you take care of you, then you will be okay. And you can ignore about, laugh about, and attack. And we'll address the subject of attack, because there's actually extremely good news on that front in terms of repelling attack of this. I keep talking about this thing. First thing I want to say is that is not my thing. That is not my thing. Okay. And
did you say wait to the end, or just holler out whenever you got an idea?
Whenever you got an idea, holler out. And
you thing is very libertarian. I watched the big think of Penn Jillette explaining libertarianism as he claims it, and it's nobody is smarter than you at making rules, so don't trust the government. Don't make any rules that will hurt me. And that's the foundation of it, which you can kind of understand in especially in situational kind of things, but at the same time, it kind of discredits any sort of authority, especially dangerous in a time when you want any kind of opinion, you could build one on the internet. It's great to this information age that we have exposure to so much information, and some of it is the truth, but now we have to sift it. Now we have to filter, and you could build a completely fabricated argument out of and have lots of references, right? So that was kind of an interesting dimension, because I always see this triangle between the left and the right, and the libertarians, who quite often have very different points than the religious right. A lot of them are atheists.
Yeah, because of the internet and social media, and look at where we are today on a Friday morning. We're all hanging out here, right? Taking time. Time is valuable. It's a precious commodity. And we're taking our time to be here to hang out. For me, that's very special. And I just want to thank you all for being here, and thanks everyone for watching this important recording. What we're doing is we're creating our own reality. And it's all you can eat, total variety at the burrito bar of create your own reality. And that sounds great until you realize it's not vegan. It includes, hacked up dead animal parts of all different kinds. And it was like, whoa, so it's like, build your own reality. Yeah, freedom. Okay, great. But wait a second. Most of humanity is buying into a collective delusion that's just big lies, which we can expose, right? Which, of course, in turn brings up a whole host of issues. But I really appreciate your point about libertarianism, Ray. Keep chiming in on that. And
I appreciate your comment on hacked up dead animal parts, which is like, are you following my social media?
I just heard that some people, I put this really
great, almost verbatim the way you put it.
Thank you. I put this really nice field roast sausage, plant-based, in stew last night, and it was awesome, right? And I'm not one of those people who said, "Oh, I can't bear the taste. I like the taste of an Impossible Burger and a Beyond Meat and these sort of things." But anyway, so I'm just saying there's something for everyone. But I digress. I'm just saying there's good, bad, and ugly in roll your own reality. And I think we've reached a critical point that that collapse is happening, which the more it happens, the more limited we are in our ability to address these and other existential threats, issues, right?
I'm not sure if it's relevant, but I just wanted to add one thing about that big think about libertarianism. I watched it because Penn Jillette had come out as a vegan, and I don't think I would have watched it otherwise. I just happened to be Googling him in particular to try to find out what makes him tick, and that's what I meant by there's libertarians that are very much not radical right. They're radical something else, because obviously the radical right tend not to be vegan. But that it drew me to his message because he was vegan. It just gave him a little bit more credibility in my eyes. Whereas that's not really a marker. It's more of a marker towards an emotional response than an intellectual response. But it's somehow relevant. I just thought I'd mention that.
No, and it's super relevant because the vegan community of which we're a part is such an amazing reality, right? It's its own reality. versus, normal, what we've normalized to be reality, right? The normalized violent reality, of course, violent in so many dimensions. But we digress. And that's okay. Digression's welcome. But my point about the burrito bar is just roll your own reality, throw in whatever you want. And and you pick and choose from each ingredient. It's not like there's like a big common truth. We're so far out of the commons. We don't even have common truths anymore. So these, we need to make the case for these, which I say are obvious. These last two are not so obvious, that we can stop both exponential planetary overheating and collapse. That's a tall order, right? And again, the key is the thing, according to some people, that is not my thing. That is not my thing, right? But we're going to talk about this thing that some people are talking about because it represents a bit of an extreme. Right.
I worked at a church for like 20 years on and off as on a video team that was doing the television version of the show. And so I'm tempted to roll religion into that. It was actually an evangelical program as well, but very biblically, very much a teaching show rather than the grossest of televangelism. But that idea that I just remember this one sermon about pluralism and how dangerous it is to have the belief that there are multiple paths to truth. And that was like probably the hardest one for me to suffer through, as one who generally tends towards atheism. I believe that the humans need a spirituality, and I think we die quickly without it. But this idea of a burrito that you build your own religion, that concept is so familiar to me. I'm sometimes skeptical of it because I'm like, well, do you believe that, or you just found a bunch of things that feel comfortable to you, and you believe in pluralism because you don't actually believe anything specific, right? Sometimes I have this admiration for the evangelicals who believe in something and stick to it, rather than go, I believe in this until I don't, until it doesn't fit anymore. But that's probably a sign of the time. That desperate need to know the truth was the foundation of organized religion. Tell me the truth. And I'm thinking of Yuval Noah Harari, who talks about the evolution of people needing organized religion so that they could identify people beyond their tribe. So if you look like a Christian or whatever, it started with earlier religions, if you subscribe to that religion and you show it, then people can trust you. I mean, they can't really, but the idea that you can only, I can't remember the number now, but there's a certain number of people that you can know intimately enough to know whether to trust them. Beyond that, you need mechanisms like religion.
150.
The Dunbar number.
150?
Yeah,
you can know 150 people well enough to know whether you can trust them.
Yeah, it's
Beyond
like
that,
either 140 or 150. Sorry.
Yeah,
I've heard as low as 120, and anyway, but whatever. It's somewhere in triple digits. Anyway, low triple digits. Back to you.
149.
And that's one of the reasons why language developed, was because people had to gossip. They go, "Who's this guy? You know this guy? Tell me about this guy. Oh, he's untrustworthy because of this and this and this. Oh, really? Well, that's good to know. Hey, you know about this guy? What I heard about this guy." So that's it's kind of interesting that gossip was one of the things that compelled us to was kind of a prerequisite to building cities, building environments where people would live together rather than just in their own little tribes of 150 people.
Yeah, but I think that the key thing you said there as well, though, Ray, was that organized religions, that's the problem there in itself. When you try to organize a religion, you see, the problem is that along the way, right from the beginning, we had our religion, Everyone does, basically, as you said. Like we today, no, I think everybody in the world gets up and tries to live according to a set of rules that suits themselves and that makes them happy in their personal life. But organized religion is different, where you're brought into something and you have to conform to it along with the rest of the organization. And then there's a different organized religion, and therefore they're wrong because they're not in line with your religion, and therefore what you have confrontation. So organized religion right from the get-go was the wrong fucking thing to do, because we all have a natural relationship with our maker, with our God, with whatever our creator, whichever we choose to call him or her. We all have a natural relationship from the moment we're brought onto the planet. So I think it is a personal thing myself all the time, and always have. It can be a shared personal thing where people share their experiences, but they don't have to conform to the others. But once we brought in organized religion, that was basically where control comes into it, and from there then it all went down fucking hill. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, religion should be something that you think about rather than something that you subscribe to, so you don't have to think anymore. Just tell me how to behave. And this is obviously a problem now that we need to be thinking. Everybody needs to be thinking, and for people to just tap out, and huge populations just tapping out and saying, like you said, that one box that you had, right? Just me. I'll just focus on my stuff. There's no such thing as my involvement in global things. I'll watch the news, but it's not like I'm going to do anything about it.
Again, that's a personal issue. That's a personal thought, but that's where we're making a fatal mistake. When this is a point where we actually should organize when it comes to our actual problems. Whereas when it comes to our personal relationship with God, there should be no organization. But we do need organization in order to keep things running smoothly for ourselves and for the greater good. But somewhere along the way there as well, leadership came into it, and that got contaminated, and now it's all up in a heap now, and it's all starting to collapse because it can only go on so the boil can only grow so big before it bursts. And that's what we have. We have a boil in society. We have leaders that are elected into positions to look after the general public, but they're not really elected in. They're paid and bought in. Now I'm talking specifically about American politics, because let's face it, America is a world leader, and what happens in America, my father always told me when we were growing up, if America sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold, pardon the pun. But basically that's what it is, because it's a world leader, and it has influence, and it's a democratic influence, which is what people wanted. You know what I mean? The world basically wanted, majority anyway. But it got polluted and poisoned along the way, because politicians are paid to get into position now. Whichever man has the most money, or woman, when there's an election on in America, if you have the most money, you're going to get fucking in. It's as simple as that. That has nothing to do with politics or looking after the people. So that's where the problem is. Like, at the end of the day, you have to pull money out of politics and look for people who want to go into it and get the position because they want to do good for the general people. There's no one not one politician on the planet that's out there to do that now at the moment, unless he's just got out of education and thinks because he have a clean mind that he can go in and clean it up. He wouldn't be long getting contaminated himself. It's all fucked up because of money.
I just did a post recently about an article that said that there's a lot of religious myths that are starting to be climate change is starting to create the conditions to make them come true. And a lot of them aren't Christian specific situations, but obviously the more that things look like Revelation, the more likely that the fundamentalist Christians are going to say, well, I don't need to do anything about climate change. This has all been prophesized. Just bring it on, just get your spiritual affairs in order. Don't do anything to change anything. God isn't asking you to do that. But according to other interpretations, Revelation is about preparing an Eden on earth. So you probably, if your objective is to make a global garden, that probably means that we're going in the wrong direction. We have to turn the ship around. If you're into those sort of things. It wasn't a very popular post either. Surprisingly, I'd had somebody flying on a winged creature with a flaming sword. You think that would grab attention on social media, but no.
Well, I want to jump in and build on what James was saying about, money corrupting politics. That is absolutely 100% true. And more recently, on a time scale of years, it's been increasingly infested with fascism and racism and misogyny and so many other terrible things, right? And I don't even need to name names, right? It just jumps onto the screen, right? Like spreading Santorum, but I won't even go there. Bottom line, it's money and now fascism, right? And what a combination. Oh my, could it possibly get any worse, right? And so anyway, we've got a lot to unpack here. Let me get back to screen sharing. I just want
to point out about that, though, is that those things are signs that somebody is scared. The macho culture is scared. It's losing ground. It's got to regroup and retaliate, and it can't do it secretly anymore. So it's kind of a sign that things get worse before they get better. This is how it gets worse. It becomes more overt, and then people have to ask the question, wow, do I want to be on this side anymore? I'm not sure we're the good guys anymore. I was pretty convinced about it in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and now I'm not so sure. And the next generation cares about what the Gen Xers and Boomers care about. Not at all. Try to scare them about Russia. They're like, hey, I have Russian friends online. I don't know what's wrong with them. They don't have a third eye. They don't have fangs.
But just look at how the conversation can branch from here. And it generally does, right? And if I can, I'd like to get back to the slides because this is pretty important stuff, I think. Let me just get through these slides, all right? And then why don't we then just open it up and everyone share what they have to share. But I just want to kind of complete the picture. It won't take long. All right.
Write mine down.
What's that, Marco?
Oh, I didn't realize my screen was. I got to write what I was going to say down, or I'll forget.
Oh no, go ahead, Marco. I can go anytime. I'm no hurry.
No, it's good. I'm good.
No, really. I wasn't trying to.
You mentioned racism and people talk about the progress we've made when we really haven't made very tiny amount. And at the same time, we've got all this stuff that's disguised as progress. And we hide, so many people still, they hide their racism right in plain day. They're not even hiding it. Louisiana it got recently repealed, a law that allowed people to be convicted by non-unanimous jury. So
incredible.
That would and literally in the writing of the bill, whatever, it was that way so that they could keep convicting Black people and fill up the prisons, because that was their free labor, their slaves. We couldn't, we got forced to give them up. So we need more free labor to keep things going. So we'll just put them in prison and then we still get them for free. Only now maybe the state pays for their room and board. So yeah, I keep seeing these things where all we've really done is when I say we, I'm talking about the America right now. We just smoke and mirrors hide a lot of our racism, and it's still right there.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Anyway, so bottom line, we've got a lot of problems keeping us separate, a lot of things keeping us separate. So just to run through the slides, and definitely take notes because some stuff will come up, but let me just get through. I just want to cover see, I was commenting a few minutes ago, we can go in so many directions, and often these directions obfuscate the big truths. We're in a process of collapse, and that's not like me, like, manifesting something negative. This is identifying what's going on, right? When you call 911, they need to know, is the house on fire? Is somebody, suffocating? What's the deal? We need a proper diagnosis. So this is just a reality check. Okay. Collapse is happening. The planet is burning and melting exponentially, which is adding oceans of gasoline to an otherwise manageable fire, quite frankly. We can't afford the oceans of gasoline on top. We can stop both. We can stop both the collapse and the planet burning. And a lot of people are saying the key is this thing that is not my thing, with a nod to Clouseau. That is not my dog. And we've got these obfuscating big lies that we've got this under control, that we can solve we can solve the overheating problem by, drastically reducing carbon emissions over the next decade, sometime in the next 10 years, right? Reduce your emissions and we'll be fine. The tragic thing is, even if we suddenly stopped all emissions, or at least all the dirtiest emissions, the temperature would spike in a way that we can ill afford, quite frankly. So it's that bad. We're way beyond the point of managing this with emissions. We need to, and the thing will point to what the solution is to that. But we can literally stop, not just stop this, we can reverse overheating. The planet's overheating right now. We can reverse it. We can actually cool the planet. And the other big lie, you take care of you, then you will be okay. And you can ignore, laugh at, and ultimately attack the thing, right? And we'll get more to the thing in a moment. The thing is ultimately a secret love child between us coming together, right? But not in a tribal way, not in a racist way, in a very total way, humanity coming together, but also in a decentralized way. So it's this beautiful combination of together and decentralized, right? Versus separate over here and versus centralized. Now you can mix and match. You can have a togetherness that's very centralized. You can have a separateness that's very decentralized. It's like total separation and libertarianism to the max, anarchy, et cetera, no government, et cetera, just everybody with their own shotgun, I guess. I don't know. You can have, separate with centralized. So anyway, mix and match. But what I'm saying is, of all the mixes and match combinations, the golden combination is togetherness and decentralized, and it's seemingly contradictory. So let's dig in deeper, right? In the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and ongoingly, we've got this semiconductor revolution creating these amazing integrated circuits, which are just integrations of these transistors, which can hold a 0 or a 1, right? Not a ton of intelligence there, but when you pack them all together in a certain specific organization, you get amazing power, right? Amazing computational power supporting AI. We couldn't have done AI, even though it was dreamt about for many, many decades. Think of von Neumann, et cetera. Isaac Asimov, everybody's been dreaming about, but without this stuff, we couldn't do it. Now, we're on the brink of a new revolution. from semiconductor to metaconductor, right? Conductor, like in the orchestration sense. There's a metaconductor that is integrating humanity, but again, not in a centralized way, in a decentralized way. So rather than analogous to a transistor, which can hold a 0, 1, we can hold amazing thoughts and creations, and we can speak and mix and match our perspectives and everything. That's where the magic is. And so see the circle here in the lower right with like 6 smiley faces? That's us, right? Okay. We're in a conversation and we're connected to other conversations. I'm going to send out a pulse when I send out this recording, as soon as we're done recording, to the whole email list and invite everyone to join and say, this is what we're talking about. What we're talking about, and that's going to connect us to a bunch of other conversations that'll be in flight. And that's increasingly happening. That's increasingly the trend, right? And so just consider this network of conversations analogous to a network of transistors. Again, a transistor can hold a 0 and a 1. A conversation can hold a half dozen people talking about some of the most brilliant cutting edge stuff, or doing really awesome sense making. Hey, here's what's really going on in the world. What do I mean by that? This big truths collapse is happening. It's a fact. I just mentioned how they've slashed ferry service literally in half in the state of Washington. You know, a good quarter of the state is islands, right? In terms of people, in terms of all kinds of stuff. Anyway, and we're just being cut off. It's ridiculous. Collapse is happening. We've all heard about the supply chain stuff, all these different sectors, shortages. The planet is burning, melting exponentially. It's a reality. Make sure you watch the Guy McPherson video, which talks about how quickly this is all happening. But basically, we're going to, anyway, I could go on and on, but just watch the videos. We can stop both of these if we leverage things like the thing. I just highlight the thing as an example. That is not my thing. That is not my thing. But, you know, it's an extreme, but I think just by looking at the extreme, we can gain a bunch of insights, right? So together and decentralized, metaconductor revolution. So the metaconductor revolution is really, you know, just like this, the semiconductor created a great platform to bring all these transistors together, right? The metaconductor is the platform for bringing all, well, what is this metaconductor? It's like a conductor, like an orchestra conductor, but it's like at a meta level. It's almost like an invisible hand that helps us organize into a network of conversations, like a network of transistors. But see, a network of transistors, as Dr. Sailesh Rao, who will probably be joining us shortly, as he can tell us, because he was basically one of the top technical and creative minds, creative in the technical sense, at Intel, working on literally this: how do we pack these transistors together, right, in efficient ways? In our case, we're not trying to pack in so much as liberate our best ideas, our best creativity, right? Our best wisdom for sense making. First, you know, what's going on in the world, like I've been talking about in detail. And then, you know, from that sense making, what do? Well, we design what? A future. Obviously constrained by the possible, right? Of course, we're constrained by what's possible and what's not possible, what's realistic. Of course, we're constrained, right? You know, get over it kind of thing. But within these constraints, we can design, we can choose pathways, right? We can plan. What's the great saying? You know, planning is futile, but essential, or something like that. Anyway, there's some great quote that's also kind of funny. And then ultimately collective
All models are wrong. You still need models, but they're all wrong.
Okay. Exactly. That's right. That's right. That's right. Planning is models are useless, but modeling is
I wasn't
essential.
criticizing your model.
No. I understand. No, I get it. No, I totally get it, Ray. I do. I got it. Anyway, so another big part of this, of the organization, the architecture of this. See, this will follow an architecture, whether it grows organically and chaotically and randomly, great, or under design, whatever. But we can again do the planning, right? Plans are useless, but planning is essential. I think that's it. Plans are useless, but planning is essential. Taxonomies are useless, but they're essential. We can build taxonomies, plural, not singular taxonomy. I believe in a plurality of taxonomies, speaking of plurality, and this is essential actually. But more broadly, I believe in plurality, period. But this way, we can build a taxonomy of truths and lies, engage in, when I say we, I mean the big we, in a decentralized way. Again, this is not my thing. These are a bunch of other people's ideas. And I'm just wrapping them all into this one kind of extreme point called the thing, where we intentionally engage in collective sense making, which includes individual sense making as well as collective design and planning. We design your future at the individual level, our future at the collective level, and ultimately collective action. Individual action at home, collective action when we get together. We're talking about, remember I was talking about integrated humanity as a parallel to integrated circuits. What are some of the characteristics of a decentralized integrated humanity? Yes, there's a hierarchy, but it's a hierarchy of ideas, solutions, conversations, actions. Well, hierarchy relative to what standards, right? Hierarchy relative to what, choices that we make. I choose to engage with a vegan community. Thank you very much. So if it's vegan, take me there. I want to be in those conversations about climate solutions, about human rights solutions, not just animal rights, right? But, you can, in other words, you define your own hierarchy relative to what's important to you, including membership. Hey, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, this part of the time I want to be with these friends online talking about this, right? People who basically are a part of either Dirumer or, the press conference or any other of myriad venues. So membership, you can be membership all over the place. Now we get to a really sticky one, governance. It's like, okay, I was okay up to here. Yeah, plurality, choice, these hierarchies, in terms of conversation. Basically, we're trying to create something which is achievable in the virtual realm, which is basically a utopia. But as soon as you bring in governance, it's like, the libertarian in me says, wait a second, get off my back. I just want to emphasize, I'm talking governance, not government. There's a difference because, and in the open source blockchain world, there's all kinds of, ways of creating and modifying and evolving and enforcing automatically all kinds of rules and creative agreements within that realm, of smart contracts and all kinds of cool stuff. Anyway, the bottom line is there is a way to have governance even in the realm of the decentralized, the open source, et cetera. Now, ultimately, this will only make a difference. It'll only be valuable to the extent that it orchestrates optimal action in the face of these urgencies. So what do we got to do? We got to cool the planet. We got to feed everyone plant-based foods. The thing, right? The thing, of course, being this collective intelligence, this network of conversations. Imagine millions of us. It only takes 1 in 1,000 human beings to have millions of us in a network of conversations. And as Dr. Silas Rao can tell you, the more transistors they were able to pack onto a single chip, the more powerful the computer, the more people that we can get into a taxonomy of conversations that spans everything we need to talk about. And we're focused on integrated humanity, bringing us together in a way that's healthy, that's safe, that brings out the best in us. Ultimately, solutions and plans, et cetera, that ultimately result in actions, cooling the planet, right? Which we totally can do. We have the technology for it. Solar radiation management and marine cloud brightening are two topics we'll cover elsewhere, but those relate directly to this. Those are the engines of this, actually. Solar radiation management, and specifically marine cloud brightening. And then over here, we have feeding everyone plant-based foods, which really has two parts: feeding everyone and getting the world to go plant-based. We can accomplish both with one fell and very compassionate swoop, and that is stuff like food healers. But it's stuff like, there's thousands, millions of projects like food healers. That's just one example. That's the decentralized part. Once we get these two things, as we handle these two things, it'll be transformational for humanity, paving the way to basically do a whole bunch of other stuff, planet related, and a whole bunch of other stuff, people and animal related, right, et cetera, et cetera. So the thing is kind of seen as this central, the collective intelligence is the thing. The metaconductor revolution, integrated humanity coming together, bringing the best of us together in conversation to do all these awesome things, come up with all this awesome stuff. Where to start? Dear Umair. Why? Instant invitations sent out to his entire community, which measures in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't know the exact numbers, but big numbers of people who are really dialed in. More and more of them join us in conversation, including Umair himself. Welcome, Umair. Imagine Umair puts out the clarion call. Now, we've had conversations about, well, what if Umair doesn't want to do? Okay, fine, we'll find someone. It'll be someone like Umair. Umair, in a sense, is sort of a placeholder in a way. Hopefully he'll take the shot, do the clarion call. We bring a critical mass of us together. It grows exponentially into a collective superintelligence. Now we have planetary scale and super intelligent. I'm not just saying like 10% smarter or even twice as smart. We're talking orders of magnitude smarter. I mean, we're talking, the most powerful Pentium chip ever built compared to an Abacus kind of smart. I mean, there's just no comparison, right? And so anyway, those are the slides I wanted to get through. Quick.
Isn't that the filter that I was talking about, that we have so much intelligence, we have data, I mean, when we need to sort out what's true and what's not, and it needs some sort of mechanical measure, but it also needs that human measure as well. So an example would be discussions on the internet about plastic in the oceans. And some people get there by going, oh, I saw this picture of a straw being taken out of a turtle's nostril. Drinking straws are the problem, right? So you kind of got a piece of the truth, but you've got a very small piece, but something inspired you to do something. And now you are actively searching for data. You're actually engaging in an anti-plastic community. And that's the point. It's like, it's almost not, it doesn't even matter that you've tripped on a tiny piece of the puzzle, because you're putting yourself in proximity now with other people that'll go, well, if you want to do something about ocean plastic, that more than half of it is fishing gear. So if we get rid of ocean fishing, then that will solve the plastic problem. If that person didn't come across the what would otherwise be called a false justification. I don't use drinking straws anymore. I'm an environmentalist, right? That drives so many people insane. It's like, no. But at the same time, you started, you did something. It's almost like I'm part of a Meatless Everyday campaign, which of course is riffing off of Meatless Monday. At the same time, I've also been part of a presentation to the Toronto District School Board to incorporate Meatless Monday. just getting that something started brings up the conversation of why. You have to justify Meatless Monday, and then once you just justify it, people have actually armed themselves to be meatless every day.
You see, Ray, what you're talking about is a perfect example, if I can jump in, of coming up with planning, design and planning, designing the roadmap, planning the steps in terms of communication. You know, yes, we support Meatless Monday. You know, we actually also support Meatless Tuesday and Meatless Wednesday and all that, but you know, but we're getting ahead of ourselves kind of thing, right? See, we're talking about planning and ultimately collective action, right? And I'm not saying it's perfect, right? But more heads are able to, well, you know, that was tried 12 years ago. Shoot, if I hadn't spoken with you, I wouldn't have known that, right? And did it work or didn't work? Well, you know, and then you get into it. This is part of the collective sense making, but it all happens in conversation. Look, bottom line, a lot of people are saying, and that is not my thing, but a lot of people are saying is that the thing is the thing. But I'm just saying, let's talk about it, right? That is not my thing. I didn't come up with it. It's not my ideas. That is not my thing, but I thought it was valuable to talk about it. Marco's got some images there of marine cloud brightening. These are these sailing vessels. And I want to do a video called, that is not my sailboat. That is not my sailboat. Those are actually sailing vessels, even though you don't see like big, you know, synthetic sails blowing in the wind. How romantic. And the big synthetic sail left in the wind, a big hemp sail, like what my great grandfather produced, Diego Pellicer, largest grower of hemp in the world in the Victorian era, with a nod to the good work we did with President Vicente Fox of Mexico on ending prohibition of cannabis throughout the hemisphere, which is a process, not an event. But anyway, just a nod to that, and we'll link to that as well. But that is not my sailboat. In other words, let's talk about marine cloud brightening, because there's a group of extremists out there that are saying that we can put these sailboats out in the oceans and just go and cool the planet and just do that. There are some extremists out there. That is not my sailboat. That is not my sailboat.
Why are they extremists though?
Well, they're basically saying we can use geoengineering to cool the planet.
With seawater.
With seawater, spraying seawater into the air to create these droplets that reflect sunlight back into space.
When you say geoengineering, people say, well, I heard that's bad.
Yeah, geoengineering is bad, right? Anyway, this discussion is too high level to discuss whether that's good, bad, or ugly. But I'm just saying that is not my sailboat, but there are some people whose sailboat it is, who are saying, listen to this, listen to how radical this gets, that we could raise $10 billion, completely fund that whole operation, get on the order of 1,000 such sailing vessels out into the oceans, spraying bright white clouds of these micro droplets of just pure seawater. You know, it's not like they're adding any chemicals or, you know, H2SO4 or toxic stuff as is involved in other, you know, that's sulfuric acid, I guess, right? As in other geoengineering schemes. This is just pure ocean water, just doing what the ocean does anyway by splashing around and creating droplets. It's just doing it in a very intentional way. But anyway, the bottom line, here's what's radical about it. They're saying that we could just raise $10 billion, fund this whole thing, cool the planet, without even asking so much as a single government permission. Talk about decentralized. Now, is there something wrong? Would there be something wrong with that? Well, you'd have to take it up with this. I'll just call them the sailboat people. That is not my sailboat. But some of the sailboat people are saying, let's just do this, because they could raise 10 billion just by passing the hat amongst billionaires who want to survive. You want to survive? Are you crazy?
Well, if you could convince them to do that instead of flying their reclaimed U-2 spy plane into the stratosphere and doing it themselves with spraying chemicals or putting tinfoil into the stratosphere.
No, all these ridiculous, they're ridiculously bad. They're not just ridiculous because they're funny in a comic book way. They're ridiculously bad. Anyway,
well, there's a thing is bad science out there. So you have to really convince people about the science. When you mentioned this, when I saw this last week, I went, well, water vapor is the most common greenhouse gas. So you're creating more water vapor. Wouldn't that be a
No,
increase in the greenhouse?
because we're actually not creating water vapor. We're creating water droplets. There's a gigantic difference. Droplets are liquid phase. Vapor is gas phase, and they're totally separate. And for the life of these droplets' existence, they're separate. Now, is there some
Well,
evaporation?
there's
Yes.
also I came across the fact that it's stratospheric moisture that is relevant to climate change, whereas low level increases the clouds and
No, it's not about low level or high level. It's about what phase are we talking about, right? So, for example, let's take stratospheric aerosol injection, where you're injecting H2SO4 nuclei into the stratosphere, right? Those specks are solid form. So we got solid, liquid, gas, the three phases at which the stuff is relevant. So stratospheric aerosol injection is about injecting solid particles into the stratosphere. They reflect sunlight back into space. All this is about reflecting sunlight back into space. That's solar radiation.
sulfur is a solid.
So H2SO4 in that form, in the stratosphere, they're solid particles. That's the reason why they stay there for years and years and years. If they were a droplet, they'd rain out. They'd condense, they'd bump into each other and condense. Here, they just bounce off each other. They can't muster enough of them to create a critical mass to fall down over the time scale until you get to a time scale of years. They've got a half-life, I don't know, 5 years, something like that. But anyway, bottom line, that's solid phase. Now let's go from solid to liquid. Okay, we're going to go solid, liquid, vapor. Okay, liquid
There's so
phase.
much contradiction in science that you have to really understand it completely. You can't just take a little piece, because I was also thinking, sulfur is an aerosol.
Well, yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what stratospheric aerosol injection is.
And what we know about aerosols from carbon dioxide is that, or from combustion, is that it precipitates quickly.
Well,
But
yeah.
you're saying it in the stratosphere,
And
it sticks there longer.
It's a combination of two things, right? One is, in the stratosphere, there's no interacting with clouds. If they interacted with clouds, they get rained out. So you got to get above the cloud layer, right? And in fact, you don't want them interacting with anything. So it's kind of like this inert, very quiet. There's no wind, there's no currents or convections, minimal mixing. But that's an unknown. We don't know how much those things would spread, but they'd certainly stick around a long time, because they're tiny little particles basically just in suspension, right? And eventually, on a time scale of years, they fall out, which is why you have to keep dumping the stuff up into the stratosphere. But those are details. The point is, do you do it in the stratosphere with solids that are toxic, or do you do it at the level of the oceans? Look at Marco's picture, the red sailboats. That is not my sailboat. That's the question. But the question of, do we need to do some form of geoengineering? That's a matter of fact. So that's not my sailboat people. They really have it right in terms of the technology. What's radical is saying we can do this without so much as asking permission of the government. Just raise the money, create a fund. And there's talk of blockchain, cryptocurrency, so that investors can put in money and get literally 100 times return by investing in this early. And you structure it in a way that the last money in gets good returns, but not such astronomical returns. And anyway, they've got all these plans of doing this essentially on a very decentralized, ultimately private, semi-private basis. Not that they'd keep any secrets about it, but this way you don't. They can't even get their idea in front of the COP folks at Glasgow. That's how ridiculous this is. They can't even get their idea in front of them, even though it's probably the most practical way of cooling the planet and saving life on Earth within the time frame that we have. Anyway, we'll talk more about that in that other segment.
So
But
isn't
bottom line-
capitalism the biggest problem that's facing this? Because it's money that will keep this idea out of COP.
It's money that's keeping it out of COP, but it can also be money that floats its boat. It can be money that literally floats it and gets it done, right? And the urgency right now is to get it done, not to,
No,
figure
to
out
get it
what.
approved, to get
Pardon me?
everybody on board, right?
I beg your pardon?
Well, yeah, you're saying that you don't need everybody on board if you can just do it yourself.
Just do it yourself, DIY, decentral.
So
But
what happens when the Coast Guard goes, what's all this then? I come across one of these things.
oh,
and
well,
go,
we're sailing and we're making rainbows. Come smoke a joint with us. Well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, but I'm just saying that's a solvable problem. In reality, those sailboat people, and it's not my sailboat, so don't ask me, but the sailboat people, in reality, they're talking with all the governments and saying, yeah, look, this is totally open. We're not hiding anything. To the contrary, we're screaming it from the rooftops at every press conference. Hello, right?
I mentioned all models being wrong. Models are also something that people adhere to, probably like a religion. A lot of scientists have given up religion, but then they become climate scientists and say a renewable energy grid, that's what you got to do. We've been talking about this since the 80s. What do I need to explain? And then other solutions come along and they go, no. We need money to solve this problem, and your solution costs money, and we need all the money over here building our renewable energy grid. So we're not interested in your story. We're not even going to look at the evidence, right? And that's where you don't have that. They say this is my thing, and that thing isn't my thing. It doesn't look anything like my thing. And in fact, it's a competing idea to my thing. And they've really played the bully in the playground and said that we're not going to play any other game than ours. It's red light, green light.
No,
and we're just going to play red light, green light.
That's exactly right. That's
exactly
right.
Squid Game, if anybody's seen it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So anyway, bottom line, we're going to be talking about all these things today here at Block Party number 84, the Orwellian Block Party, where we have to literally overcome the Orwellian. What I read earlier from the New York Times, that is Orwellian. It is freaking Orwellian. And all these manufactured wars between all these governments, national governments all over the world, it's all Orwellian. We're living in deeply Orwellian times. And we're basically talking about, I don't want to call it a revolution, that's not my word, but certainly nothing violent, just some revolutionary ideas for how we can cool the planet, feed everyone. I haven't even talked about that. That's the realm of, you see my image, the Community Cafe, that was a predecessor to Food Healers, which we'll be talking about over the course of the day. But anyway, where to start, Dirumer, and we'll talk more about that. But the basic idea is that we put a calendar of all these topics up on the calendar for Dirumer, right? Here's the slogan: Dare to calendar with Dirumer. Dare to calendar with Dirumer. Anyway, we're going to create a calendar of all the Dirumer stuff. That's the bottom line. A calendar of all the Dirumer conversations. And we make every conversation a Dirumer conversation. Right? That is not my thing. This whole video, Dirumer, that is not my thing. So he can read it, and all his audience can read it. Oh, you're talking about solar radiation management. Dirumer, solar radiation management. Episode 17 of the Friday series. We talk about SRM every Friday. Dirumer, SR, and so we put all, can you imagine we're publishing a dozen plus hours of Dirumer every week? You think it's not going to raise a bunch of eyebrows? What the hell are they talking about? I don't know. Come check us out. That simple. Anyway, we're going to talk about all this over the course of today. Let me wrap this up so I can get this email off to everybody with this recording. Any other comments before we wrap today?
Well, I read a very interesting Umira article there the other night about the economy and the collapse that's underway as we speak. So that's very interesting. But also what we were relating there about the marine cloud brightening and the different geoengineering techniques. There was also Facing Future there, that the documentaries I watched that we saw there last week. Silas Rowe done one with them yesterday, and I saw that yesterday, and they were talking about the food and everything. But there was another one on afterwards, and it was I was very annoyed with it actually. I was very annoyed with Paul Beckwith and Peter Carter for their obvious. They were making an obvious attack on people who were trying to say that global dimming will, kill us outright if we decarbonize. That's not true. They're saying yes, it's true. He's saying yes, it's true. If we stopped carbon, if we got rid of carbon emissions, that the heating will go up by, and it's proven, 0.5 to 1 degree Celsius. But he said that's not everywhere all at once. It's spread out, and it's more over land than it is over sea. I don't know how he makes out that's any better, because people live over inland, like not over fucking sea anyway. Either way, anyway, point is, he was on about those who are out making videos and groups that are getting together and trying to say that if we decarbonise, we'll overheat exponentially. He said these people are wrong. He said they're misleading, and in fact they're almost cults. He was saying. I was very annoyed with it, because what he's after doing now is throwing a whole other spanner into the conversation, where people have no other choice but to distrust any information they're hearing, both from himself or from anyone else. They're only confusing the issue all the time, more and more compounding the issue with these fucking arguments back and forth with each other. They need to settle on the facts. They need to settle on the actual scientific facts, and they need to have consensus, because just compounding each other and saying they're saying this but they're not exactly right, and we're saying this but we're right, and you can't be believing that because those people could be possibly cults or whatever it is. Once you're throwing aspersions around like that, how is the average person supposed to come along and go, what's actually happening? Who am I supposed to listen to?
There's one of the cult leaders now.
Yeah,
Well,
no
this is the
kidding.
point,
Welcome,
I'll have to
Dr.
get him up to speed what that was about. But
Silas,
James, you're right.
First of all, welcome. We are recording, okay? And you know what to do if you ever want to pause, just say pause. And Silas, we've been having an awesome conversation up until now. But with you here, now it's perfect. And here, let me just do a quick little recap for you. If you don't mind drinking from a fire hose for a second, because we talk about you in what we recorded earlier. But first of all, so we have some big truth. Collapse is happening. The planet's burning and melting exponentially. We can stop both, but there are these big lies. Oh, we got this within the current paradigm. Just put on solar panels and get a Tesla. Oh, and regarding the planet burning and melting, we can solve that too by drastically reducing carbon emissions over the next decade. These are big lies. If that's all there is to it. No, that's not all there is to it. There's SRM. And then you take care of you, then you'll be okay. The thing that we're making reference to is together and decentralized, this magical combination of togetherness and decentralized. Now, Silas, you were like one of the fathers of, if I can brag a little bit. I also like to brag about my Uncle Frank, because you guys both were part of the semiconductor revolution, integrating circuits together, transistors that can, in very simplistic terms, can store a 0 or a 1, but that's overly simplistic. But the bottom line is, integrating a bunch of these transistors together, you get these amazing chips. You're a high-level Intel scientist coming up with a bunch of this stuff. Now consider the metaconductor revolution. From the semiconductor revolution to the metaconductor. What's the metaconductor? It's this meta thing, right? That's not really a thing. That's why I say meta. That helps us organize together into networks, not of transistors, but of conversations of people, to do collective sense making, design, planning, design of what? Our future, planning, how to get there, to ultimately influence collective action, topics and taxonomies of all this, the thing being all of this, right? The collective intelligence, the metaconductor. We talk about integrated humanity in a decentralized way. All these topics, and in many cases, issues, right? And then decentralized action. Decentralized action, yes, we can cool the planet with marine cloud brightening, immediately cool the planet with marine cloud brightening, and in parallel take on the inherently longer term projects. But we can also do this incredibly quickly with things like food healers and what you've founded and led, Silas, there in Arizona and beyond internationally with your platforms. And so these are the crucial actions which will result from that sequence of sense making, design planning, and then ultimately collective action. Where to start? Dear Umair, conversations, clarion call bring us together in an integrated network of conversations, exponentiate collective superintelligence, exponentiate our abilities at sense making, design and planning, and coordinated action. That's just a quick fire hose summary. Thanks for writing that out, Silas, and welcome, Silas. With you here now, it's perfect. Love to hear from you. And we are recording, and we'll send this recording out as soon as we conclude it. But handing you the talking feather, welcome. We love you, Silas. So great to see you.
Thank you, Jamin. Yeah, I'm going to post Dale's animal agriculture video on the chat. So this is a video that she created with a conversation between me, Jim Hicks, and Glenn Mercer. So I actually have, I'm going to show I have an animation of the climate bathtub. So maybe, can I show that?
Oh yeah, go for it,
5
Silas.
minutes?
Let me make you co-host if I can do that. Actually, Marco, you want to help out with that, please? Okay, Marco's going to make you co-host. And then share away. I imagine it's not very long, right, Silas?
Yeah, it's only 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
I mean,
Good to go.
in fact, I need to create like a 5-minute video explaining it so that I can then give it to the Ahimsa people so that they can play it.
Awesome.
So I had Marguerite create like an animation of this. Where we do, I created 4 animations. She created 4 animations. One is with doing nothing, and you show that the baby is going to drown in 4 minutes. So that's one. The second is reducing this by 15 liters per minute, the burning machine faucet. And third is by reducing this by 15 liters per minute. And the fourth animation is reducing both of them by 15 liters per minute. And that will show the need for solar radiation management, actually. So
Awesome.
So the first one, if you do nothing, which is the Trump option, the baby dies in 4 minutes. Because we are assuming that 1200 liters, the baby dies. Now, if you just say, okay, the burning machine is putting so much into the bathtub, so we need to really focus on that. And you just focus on that and reduce it by 15 liters per minute, which is the Joe Biden, John Kerry, Boris Johnson option. Then the baby dies in 1.4 minutes.
And why is that? Why does the baby die quicker?
Because the aerosol tank is going to pour 150 liters into the bathtub instantly in 0 minutes.
That's the aerosol masking effect.
Yep. 15. So you're reducing it from 35 to 20. So you get 1150 liters. And then in 1.4 minutes, you get to 1200.
So congratulations, Joe Biden and John Kerry. You've accelerated
Exactly.
the time on death row for the baby.
Exactly.
And isn't this exactly what we were just talking about how Peter Carter was saying, anybody that says that a full-on stop of the burning machine is dangerous is wrong, and a collective of people that believe that are largely a cult.
Well, these aerosols are in the IPCC's report, so he can explain it to me. What the heck is that? He's a
Yeah,
medical
this is exactly what he needs to
doctor,
see,
you know?
right?
He's a medical doctor. What the heck is he doing telling me how to do my engineering? Anyway, this is
Exactly.
engineering, okay? So engineering is about looking at every aspect of the problem and figuring out how do you come up with the right solution. So third one is only the killing machine. If you reduce just the killing machine, don't do anything about the burning machine, the baby dies in 40 minutes. I mean, you do, congratulations, you have reduced the time for death. You know, from 4 minutes.
Congratulations, you get 36 more minutes on death row.
Right. Because you're opening up the drain and it's going to, so then the bathtub is only going to fill up at 5 liters per minute instead of 50 liters per minute. And that's the 90% reduction that I was talking about. And after 40 minutes, the vegan reforestation tank will only have 800 liters left, but the bathtub will fill up because you're not doing anything about the burning machine. Okay, the baby dies in 40 minutes, only killing machine. Now you do both. If you do both, something happens. At first, the water goes up to 1150 and the baby is about to drown. And then you see it coming down to 1110, 1100. Now you can actually go and reduce the burning machine some more once it comes down. So you can actually now regulate this so that baby is saved. But if you think 1150 itself is already dangerous for the baby, you need to do solar radiation management to address that, right? So those are the questions I ask. What is the minimum you need to raise the bathtub level in order to save the baby and drain the bathtub? But clearly the baby lives in this scenario. Okay, you can make sure the baby lives. And so the answer is actually about 1068 liters. So you have to really add a little bit more, which means you have to do some solar radiation management if you don't like that. Okay. If you don't like the present situation, you have to do solar radiation management also, right? So it's just engineering 101. I mean, you have to really look at it as an engineering problem. And if you say, okay, I don't want to consider the opportunity cost of animal agriculture or the opportunity benefit of fossil fuels, you'll be making the wrong choices. Okay, and that's not engineering. That's science with the head in the clouds.
Hey, Silas, one quick question. Is that model based strictly on CO2?
No, it's based on everything.
Oh,
It's based on radiative forcing. It's based on methane. It's based on all of them, yeah. But
Okay.
I'm still using IPCC conventions in that model.
But see, the IPCC conventions water down the effect of the self-reinforcing feedback loops. Like, for example, the melting of ice. I don't even know if that factors into their model.
No, it doesn't.
And also, you know, if you look at the latest research from the Scripps Institute of Oceanography and Harvard, through Professor Anderson at Harvard, who is the one who discovered, you know, the whole ozone layer issue, not just the problem, but also the solution. So pretty smart guy and very, you know, he's had a lot of decades on this. He says we've got maximum till 2023, till we'll have an ice-free Arctic. Scripps says as early as summer of 2022, next summer. So none of that's included in that model. So we need to be, you know, if we're going to be engineers and engineer our way out of this, we need to be true to the science, and we need to consider all that data. You know, also the fact that the Amazon has become a net emitter of carbon, whereas it used to be a net sequesterer, right?
Right.
All the wildfires, animal agriculture being the main driver, right? And we also have other greenhouse gases like H2O, very potent greenhouse gas, which now that we've got hotter oceans, there's more of that gas in the atmosphere. Bad. Droplets good per Marco's sailboats there, marine cloud brightening. The bottom line, Silas, We need to both cool the planet with marine cloud brightening as quickly as possible. And we need to go vegan and feed everyone plant-based foods as quickly as possible. Those are the first two. Those won't solve all of our problems, but those will solve our most urgent problems. Bam, bam, bam. Immediately. And then we build from there. That's where we talk about these benevolent dominoes tumbling, because humanity will then be in a new paradigm. We cooled the planet. We fed everyone. We stopped the killing machine. Save the princess, and now we get to live happily ever forever after, but we get to see what we did collectively, what we did together. That's why I say togetherness is key. And so great to have you all here. Anyway, I'm complete as far as recording this first segment. I don't know how you all feel, but anyway, any further comments, please go for it. If there's more to discuss, let's go for it. But there is plenty more to discuss, but I just wanted to create kind of like an intro video and say, this is what's on the table. This is what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I just want to put the link to our convergence that's happening tomorrow. Registration link is there.
Oh yeah, tell us about, take a minute and tell us about that, please, Silas.
Yeah, so tomorrow we have, tomorrow and day after, we are meeting to talk about, this is the 7th Vegan World 2026 Convergence. And we're going to be screening eating our way to extinction. We have keynote speeches from Rabbi Shmuley Yanklowitz, Dr. Russell Marsh, Nijah Wright Brown, and I'll be speaking tomorrow morning on the state of Vegan World 2026. How far along are we, and what do we need to do? And I'll also be giving you a sneak peek on what we are doing at COP26 in Glasgow.
Okay, and that link that you provided, how do I characterize it in the email? This is the
registration link.
The registration link. Okay.
Yeah, when you click on the registration link and you register, you can register for free. You will get all the details, Zoom links and everything, and the schedule, who's speaking when. So you can choose what you want to attend. I say the more talks you attend, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're going to see. There's a lot being discussed. Yeah.
I was a proud participant in the last in-person pre-COVID Vegan World
Right.
2026 in Mesa, Arizona.
Right. That's when we unveiled the white paper for the first time.
That's right. And that's where we talked about a vegan collective intelligence for the first time. And so many wonderful, wonderful things evolved from there. Awesome, Silas. Well, I will definitely, let's wrap up this recording so I can get the word out. And that starts what time tomorrow?
It's 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern.
8 a.m. Pacific, Saturday, and Sunday starts
Same,
at
8 a.m. Pacific to 6 p.m. Pacific. So it's always 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. And if you want, I'd be happy to host an after party here if you'd like, or if you've got that handled, go with it. I'm just offering,
Sure. Usually Summer does that, so we'll see.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so awesome. Well, let's carry on. Any other final words from anyone before we wrap for today?
Well, I just wanted to also say that GoDharmic is coming to the US. So they do regular food distribution in 15 locations in the UK. And they have a perfect schedule, every week they do it, different days, different places.
Oh my goodness, they're coming to the US. Well, we've got to coordinate with them. For food healers. And
they're asking me, can you help us spread around in the US? Okay. They have the resources.
Well, please invite them here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. All right. If you have a link to that, please provide. All right. Well, I say we wrap this video unless there's any. Go ahead, James. Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say there because as Silas as you arrived there, Silas, I was in the middle of a rant, I suppose you could say, for lack of a better word. But I was just after mentioning that I saw your chat on Facing Future there. I just only saw it yesterday. But immediately afterwards, I saw another Facing Future, and it was based on the global dimming situation. And I was very frustrated with it, to be honest with you, because from what you were showing there now with your animation and you, like when you were saying if we cut off the killing machine, that we'll have the aerosols to deal with, and that was one of the things that Paul Beckwith, and he's an engineer, it was more him than Peter Carter really. Peter Carter is a strong advocate for decarbonizing the atmosphere and all that, and getting rid of O2. But they were basically saying that it's not true that there will be instant overwarming because of instant heating. Yes, he said it'll be true that we could go up to 0.5 degrees or maybe possibly 1, but that would be sporadic around different places around the globe, mostly over the ocean. It wouldn't really. And anyway, he said we can't just stop all CO2 emissions immediately. Anyway, that's impossible. So that's not really accurate information, and anyone out there telling you that information is wrong, he said. And a lot of people groups that are coming out there on YouTube are almost being cultish to the point of it, trying to get the point across. So I think it's very annoying and frustrating when we can't even get consensus among the scientists. Like, you know what I mean? How are these people supposed to fucking carry on? Like, and how are they supposed to know what to believe? Like.
Yeah, this is the strategy of the other side, is to basically get people to say these different things and confuse everybody so that then people continue doing what they're doing. That's the idea, right? And Peter Carter, he said once, going vegan is the most important thing you can do. And I think he got a lot of feedback from his IPCC colleagues to shut up about that. Otherwise, he's going to lose his privileges or whatever. Since then, he's just zipped up on this. So you can tell, when people are being influenced by others, they are speaking as an IPCC. He calls himself an IPCC expert reviewer. Okay. Someone can come along and say, you cannot say that anymore. Then they control you. This is why I am not an IPCC anybody. Okay. I am just myself. I'm sitting here and I'm reporting only to my granddaughter.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I love you myself, Silas, and also one of the reasons why I follow Paul Beckwith's postings on YouTube all the time, because I feel that he's been, non-biased, and he's given out information in a way that the average person can understand it, and I've always admired him for his work.
Right.
But I was very frustrated with the video he put out on global dimming, and also the fact that he's saying he's taken this message to the COP26 with him this month, like.
He can take all the messages he wants, but there is Jim Hansen's paper that he has to go and refute.
True. But again, this is what I'm talking about. It's refuting one person refuting another person's work. So how's the average person supposed to believe what's going on? Like?
But in the end, it becomes a popularity contest. There is, there's a dominant fraternity, and it is a fraternity at COP, right?
Right.
And you're either in or you're out, and they're the ones who publish the reports and give the ultimate green light, and they control the whole damn thing. It's politics, popularity, money, ego. It's a toxic stew. Hey, I want to welcome our Brett Minster full of it. Welcome, Brett. Great to see you. We're having a super awesome conversation. And Brett, with you here, now it's perfect. Feel free to jump in. And we've been covering all kinds of good stuff.
So we will have we'll have 10 press conferences during COP. So we have already reserved 10 press conferences. Awesome. The first one is going to be called the Cow in the Room. And there will be a cow in the room when we do the Cow in the Room press conference. And the rest are being worked out, depending on what happens there, we'll have a press conference. So we just have reserved all the slots. And I'm going to be doing a daily podcast from COP, probably at 7 a.m. Pacific time. So I want to pick some time and just do it every day. At least 15 minutes. I'll tell you what happened during that day.
Okay, cool. Make sure we get all the links necessary to
Yeah.
watch that.
Yeah, it will be all on the cowintheroom.org. Okay, but it's still not live. So the cowintheroom.org, which is a microsite of climate healers, but it's not live. If you click on it, it won't give you anything at the moment. I don't think.
Awesome.
Yeah, it cannot be reached. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. But just to have it for the future there, the near future. And, you know, Sailesh, I'd like to propose we do a press conference together, a joint press conference, the pressconference.org on our side. We totally give you the floor to give yours. And then from there, we carry on the conversation building off of your press. So it's totally your show when it's your show, when you've got that time slot organized.
Well, if you want, what we can, because these are all press conferences in the COP. So we have 10 press conferences reserved in the COP, meaning there is a room we go to, the UN gives you the forum and they have the TV cameras running and it goes on the UN site and then the UN stores it and we can copy it and do what we want with it, okay, the video. If you want, maybe if we ask Stephen Salter to come by, I can sign him in as a guest.
That would be awesome, because then we have a press conference at COP about marine cloud brightening. Check out this solution, consider it, let's talk about it, let's put it on the table. We're not saying this is the be all end all only solution. No.
Right.
We're just saying, consider it, you know.
Right.
It's like the song, the Firefly song, leave my door open just a crack. Dun, 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 dun. You know, we're just opening the door just a crack.
Yeah, tell him to come to, I mean, if he wants to come to Glasgow, I can invite a guest.
Perfect.
To come in, okay? They tell you, and they are escorted to the press conference and because they are the expert, they come and say their thing.
Oh my goodness.
And then they escort it out. Okay, so this is how it works.
It's brilliant, Sailesh. Basically,
That's awesome.
what we've done is we have hacked COP. We have hacked COP because Professor Stephen Salter submitted to COP and was rejected.
Exactly. So tell him to come, come to Glasgow. Okay. I'm happy to host him on a press conference. Okay.
I love it.
So we have 10 slots. They're usually at 4 o'clock in the evening, GMT, 4 p.m. GMT. So he can probably just catch a train and come over. He needs to tell me what day he can come. They are trying to invite, the vegan community is trying to invite celebrities to come, and they've asked me for 3 slots for that. So Paul McCartney may come,
Oh, awesome. So what days are popular or possible then?
Hold on, let me check. Carrie. So we are doing our first conference is on November 1st. We are doing that at 3 o'clock. Then November 2nd and 5th and 11th, I have promised the celebrities. So 4th of November is open. 4th, oh, I won't be there. Okay. So 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th of November, I'll be there. 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, or 10th. Okay.
All those days are open.
Yeah, all this. Tell him to pick one.
And roughly 4 p.m. GMT.
It's all 4 p.m. It's exactly 4 p.m. And they're very strict about it, okay? Because they've given half an hour slots to lots of people. So.
Gotcha. No, brilliant and well played, Sailesh. And in fact, we'll stream that one live and do a press conference simultaneous with that, because we can tap into the live stream, I presume. Is it?
I think so, yeah. I'll find out how to do that. I think it's the unfccc.int.
Okay. And since you've got the inside track, if you could find out, are there any issues if somebody live streams it, or do you not want us to do, I just want to make sure that we ask their permission essentially. But anyway, that's a detail. We'll work.
It's a public domain thing anyway.
Then no problem. Okay. Yeah. So we'll live stream it and then we'll have discussion afterwards. Wow, super exciting. Thank you so much, Sailesh. That's just incredible news.
Yeah. So, we can get some of these discussions going on inside, right? Now, Dale also has, I think she has also reserved like 10 or 12 slots, but I think she's got it all booked up already. I've left a few. I mean, Ken is the one who did all the reservations for us, and I'm one of his delegates, Ken Amateng.
Awesome.
And I'm just going to. He told me these are the slots that are open. You tell me which one you want, so I can tell him. One of these I need.
Okay.
But typically, we reserve these slots in case we have something going on that we want to talk about that day. We can just change the subject matter.
Gotcha. Beautiful. Thank you, Silas.
Yeah.
I will. I'm getting on that right now, actually.
I mean, I'm thinking of, we can also invite the Godharmic people to come and talk about food healers, right? They have the Ahimsa and the environment event happening, but
wow, perfect. Oh my goodness. No, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. All right. Well, any other comments before we wrap? I'll make sure to get those links in there in the email. Any other comments or questions? Is Brett there? I know I saw Brett when he signed in. He's in North Africa right now, and sometimes the internet is an issue, so we'll be patient there. All right. Any other comments before we wrap this video and get on? All right. Well, great.
So have you seen, did you get this one? Webcast recordings from COP26 upwards.
Did you put it in the chat?
Hold on. They are on azurewebsites.net. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, we'll get that in the email. UNFCCC. Okay.
That's where they are storing the past ones. So
okay.
I don't know where they put the new ones. So you can see all the COP25 videos.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, we're going to continue the conversation. I just want to stop the recording so we can ship out the recording. So anything else anyone wants to say on the recording, we'll have plenty more to discuss post-recording. All right. Well, very good. Well, thanks everyone for participating in this recording, and the conversations continue, which means we invite you to join us. We're going for 24 hours, the 24-hour collective intelligence block party. In reality, at some point we go to sleep. Anyway, thanks everyone for participating in the recording, and we'll see you here. Okay, we're actually continuing recording. We're now joined by Professor Stephen Salter, University of Edinburgh, Scotland. And Professor Salter, we've been having a really great meeting up until now, but with you here, now it's perfect.
Well, I'm a bit busy. I'm trying to finish I've got to do 2 presentations at COP, and I'm rushing to finish them, so I haven't got very much time. If there's anything I can tell you about marine cloud brightening promptly now, I'd be happy to do that. But I think you probably know I've recognized most of the faces.
No, we just want to give you some good news. Dr. Silas Rao here is going to give you some good news. So Silas, please take it away.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I told Jamin that we have about 10 press conference slots reserved during COP26. So we'd be happy to invite you to come to one of them.
Which day would it be?
We have, Jamin, did I give you the dates? November. Hold on.
Yeah. I've got the dates right here.
Okay.
So we're looking at the following are possibilities. Definitely the 5th through the 10th, and the 4th. I was a little ambiguous on, Silas. I don't know if the 4th is also open or if that's spoken for.
It's ambiguous because I have another event to go to.
Right. Let me check what I'm planning to do up to now. I'll go open up my schedule. At the moment, I'm talking on the 2nd of November and the 4th of November.
Oh, okay.
And
I'd
rather not do the 12th. I've got another thing on the 12th. So tell me what you've got available.
So is that inside COP? You have 2nd and 4th?
That's for COP26, yes.
Okay.
And there is a thing I would quite like to see on the 8th of November.
8th of
So,
November.
so what dates have you got?
I think they overlap. I mean, we have 5th, 6th, 8th, 10th available.
And ninth
And
also.
9th. Yeah.
5th, 6th, 8th, and 10th. Okay.
8th, 9th, and 10th available.
And ninth,
And ninth.
Professor Salter.
So
And-
you've got everything. So do you think it should be good to do it early or late?
It's up to you. We have half an hour slots from 4 o'clock to 4. No, 5th we don't have. Jamin, we don't have 5th because we gave it away to the Paul McCartney people.
Yeah, no,
So if-
okay. So you're competing with Paul McCartney, Professor Salter.
So
Well, he might be able to fund it.
Battle of the
I
Bands.
don't want to compete with him.
No,
Yeah.
here's the thing. We don't want him to fund it. We only want him to popularize it. So I would say jump on the 6th, because that way we do it early and that way there's conversation. Did you see the press conference on the 6th? Did you see did you see it? Did you see it? And we blasted out on social
Okay.
media. We
So
blasted
what
out.
time on the 6th do you want then?
6th, it'll be at 4 o'clock, 4 p.m.
Okay, 6 November, 4 o'clock, 1600. Okay, very good. I will keep that there. I'll give you my mobile phone number
Okay.
so you can contact me.
I'm going to time. All right, resuming recording.
I
Brett,
heard it into
great,
the chat.
great to
Okay.
see you, Brett. Brett, did you just observe this history in the making? We've now got there's going to be a press conference on marine cloud brightening at COP Glasgow, 4 p.m. on the 6th local time.
Right.
So great to see you, Brett. How you doing?
I'm good. Unfortunately, I didn't hear it, but I know Stephen is the one who works out of Scotland, right? With the
Edinburgh.
project.
Edinburgh.
Unfortunately, I have a cousin
Yep.
who lives in Glasgow, so I've got a bed promised whenever I need it.
Even I,
for the whole period.
I didn't get the number. So did you just send it to Jamin?
I put it in the chat. Don't use it outside the COP because the reception at my home is very bad. But
Ye-
it should be okay when I'm in Glasgow.
I think you have to hit enter. Try hitting enter.
Yeah.
Professor
I've
Salter.
tried that.
Okay. Yeah, because it's not appearing. Anyway, we'll
Right,
we'll
type message here. I'll do it again.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, I'll just pause recording, but this is, anyway, we'll catch you up. Basically, Brett, Professor Stephen
I've
Salter.
typed it and I've entered it.
Now we got it. Now we got it. Thanks.
Got it.
Thanks,
Okay.
Professor. Thanks, Stephen. All right. So,
that's a firm date. Thank you very much.
all right. Well, fantastic.
And have you got any selection for the audience? Sometimes they've got, press only or politicians only. But what's your audience going to be for that? Do you know anything about the people that be coming?
For which one? The press conference?
So it'll be mainly technical journalists then?
Probably, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay, right. That may be the same ones that they're coming from one of my other ones, but I will probably be able to give them time to think it out about and reply to questions. Right. Okay. And
But you know what? But let's invite Paul McCartney. Let's invite Paul Beckwith. Let's invite, our Brett Mitster full of it. Let's invite whoever's going to be there that we want there. Because this is this along with veganism. Those are the two radical solutions that are not decarbonization, right?
Yeah.
Do they impact decarbonization? Yes. There's multiple impacts all over the place, but these are the three poles: decarbonization, veganism, and solar radiation management, specifically marine cloud brightening.
Yeah, I'd like to add mangroves and phytoplankton, which will suck up a lot of carbon.
Thank you. Yeah, there's again, these are just, but
Yeah.
anyway, but anyway, this is absolutely wonderful. I'm so excited. And so let's cultivate this. Let's spread the word around and let's get Paul McCartney to announce it. No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
Paul McCartney, He's your warm up. He's your warm up band. Paul no, literally, he's speaking at the same time slot organized by Silas 24 hours earlier. Paul McCartney is warming up for Professor Stephen Salter. No, seriously.
That's great. Okay.
Shoot,
I go
I'll
back
even
to
come
work
if there's an open slot, I'll come. And that way I'll network around. I'll even get a haircut and shave and take a shower and stuff like that. And no, literally, and because I can network like crazy and just fill that place up.
So on November 6th, there is a rally, there is a march from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. I can give you the link to the rally.
Okay.
And that one, we are going to have a lot of animals and all kinds of things going on. And then from there, I'll be coming back to COP. So I'm participating in the march.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I hope the weather's good for you. Can't promise it will be nicely and blissful in Glasgow in November. But,
I hope so. So, but
well,
that is the link to the, I put it in the chat, the link to
we won't be worried about drought.
the, okay.
Okay. So I'm. Can I shut down now without
Sure.
being rude?
Well, but first, let's find out. Can I get in the door if I fly out there?
If you fly out there, you'll be a guest for that press conference. Yeah, I can get you in as a guest for the press conference. See, for a press conference, I can get guests to come in and do the thing and then go back. Yeah.
All right, I'm on my way.
What?
On my way.
That's
Oh,
awesome,
really?
Jamin.
Well, heck yeah, goodness, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity
Glasgow
to
is
move
not
the
a
needle
city, but the people are
on
very-
the trifecta. Anyways, Professor Salter, you're off the hook. Thank you so
Okay.
much, and
Okay.
really appreciate your being here. Thank you,
Right.
Professor Salter. We'll
See you.
see, and we'll see you in Scotland.
If you fly out there, Jamin, then come for that action. The November
No,
6th
what
action.
I'm thinking is I'd like to bring my Darth Vader costume. Have you seen me sing in my Darth? Have you seen? No, really. Have you seen videos of me singing in my Darth Vader
Yeah.
costume?
Yeah.
Brett's definitely seen it. I think everyone has. Anyway, I'll include some links to that in the video.
Come with your Darth Vader costume because we're going to float all our animals on that day.
No, I will sing so many Spanish love songs. I'll get everyone crying. And we can also have whatever signage surrounding Darth Vader, pamphlets. No, Darth Vader is gonna steal the show in Glasgow. Seriously. Because see, Darth Vader represents all our worst nightmares. It represents exponential climate change and all that. So here's suddenly Darth Vader singing Spanish love songs and promoting Professor Stephen Salter's Marine Cloud Brightening, who Paul McCartney is going to warm up for. It doesn't get any better than this. It does not get any better than this. With all the networking we're going to do, we're going to fill that place up. It's going to be so controversial. And guess what, Silas, since you get to kick it off, you announce it as a trifecta.
Okay.
Decarbonization, check. Plant-based, vegan world, check. Solar radiation management, check. Hello world, meet the trifecta. Now, there's myriad other solutions, the iron filings and this and that in the ocean to grow phytoplankton and sequester carbon. Peace out with all that. Peace out with all that, right? And there's a million other great solutions, feeding everyone, et cetera, food healers, all the great stuff. Our Brett Minster, full of it, is working on. Togetherland, hello, this is all about togetherness to co-create all these solutions. So in Glasgow, this is it. This is like, and it's epic,
Yeah.
It's because the thing is, Darth Vader, that came from those freaking Viking empires, that whole uniform and all that. That's where it came from, right? And so it's for this to be in Glasgow in the fall. It's dark. Here's Darth. What, he's singing Spanish? What the hell? Wait a second. He is Hispanic. Who let that guy off the boat? And what's he singing about? What, it's just like, you can't look away. You may not like it, but you cannot look away. It's as simple as that. We'll get media coverage. And then the press, come to the press conference. Who the hell are you? Come to the press conference. What? They let you inside a cop. They let Darth Vader inside a cop. I won't necessarily come with my uniform, but if you can find out if I'll be welcomed with my uniform, I'll come fully uniformed and frickin', let me introduce Professor Stephen Salt. You introduce me, I'll take 30 seconds and peruse. Darth Vader, I'll say, listen, I represent your worst nightmare, and it'll come true if we don't get the trifecta right. I reinforce your side of the trifecta. The rest of the place is 99.5% carbon anyway, right? You represent like, 0.3% plant-based, and now we're going to wedge in a 0.2% SRM. Bingo. And then whoosh, suddenly it's a trifecta, right? Yeah, my albedo is an issue. You got a problem with my albedo? Right? Yeah, and then we bring in some stormtroopers, and like they
You need to be
gang
like
up
that
on me or
chrome one, the chrome reflective stormtrooper.
Yeah, I can be a reflective Darth Vader, a reflective Darth Vader. There you go. Boom. Yeah, there you go. What a nice, listen, we're coming up with all kinds of cool stuff. History in the making. This is how we
Awesome.
roll.
Come. Yeah, we have November 5th. I just got invited to the Glasgow City Council reception. Do they know who they're inviting? I don't know.
They might ask you to give them a hand with the rubbish problem that they're having at the moment. Apparently, the streets of Glasgow are covered in rubbish at the moment because of a rubbish strike.
So they have a COP26 reception, and they invited someone from Godharmik, and Godharmik is saying, "You go on our behalf." I said, "Okay."
No, look, hey, bring me. Half my ancestors are Scottish. Bring me. No, really, and that way we can say, listen, if the city of Glasgow can join us at the podium at the press conference and say, listen, we're just a city, right? Don't blame climate change on us. We're trying to help out. But we just learned about the trifecta. And you know what? It sounds like they're all crucial, not just to cooling the planet, but to saving life on Earth. All three of them are crucial for both objectives, right? So let's get reality here. So we're committed as a city to getting to the bottom of this. We're going to interview Professor Guy McPherson, who's also got a Scottish surname, right? And and we're going to interview Paul Beckwith, and we're going to interview all these people, right? And so this will be our proposal to them, which we can submit in writing. They don't like surprises any more than the next person. So I'm happy we can draft something up that all it says is it's a declaration of openness. It could be a declaration of openness. We are open to exploring this whole plant-based thing, and we're open to exploring SRM. Professor Stephen Salter's right over here in Edinburgh, just an hour and change away down the highway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there you have it, right? And then they open up a conversation. They commit to getting into the conversation. We bring, whether it's a plant-free McDonald's to Glasgow. I mean, a plant-based McDonald's to Glasgow. Why not? The world's first. And that's got a Scottish last name, McDonald's. We joke about it. We call it Scottish food in the United States. But anyway, I mean, we can do all kinds of crazy stuff. So let's put our heads. See, this is collective intelligence hacking, not just COP, but Glasgow. This is the collective intelligence hacking COP and Glasgow, finally getting marine cloud brightening in there when we had basically all but given up on Scotland. So this is just phenomenal. Anyway, I couldn't be happier. Passing the talking feather.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to get going. I've got a bunch of things to do for tomorrow.
Okay. You want me to take a first crack at drafting that letter to the Glasgow City Council?
Sure.
Okay, I'll take a crack at it.
We are going to give them the plant-based treaty, anyway, and have them sign the plant-based treaty.
Perfect. And now we'll have them sign the Marine Cloud Brightening Treaty as well. And any other treaties we can come up with in the meantime. But let's come up with a holistic plan. That's my point. But I think the trifecta is the answer, right? And anyway, but to be continued. Take care, Silas. We love you. So great to see you here.
I'm going to put the link to the plant-based treaty so you guys can endorse it as well.
Oh, awesome.
And we are asking the Glasgow City Council to endorse it. You're putting pressure on them to endorse it.
Love it. Plant-based treaty. I love it. Yeah. My goodness. Anyway, yeah, if you can bring me to that meeting and you're comfortable with it, please do so. That's on the
It's
5th.
November 5th. I think it's invitation only. So far, I got an invitation from Godharmik. So I'll see what's happening with that.
Anyway, I'm just saying, if you can make it happen, great. Otherwise, don't worry about it. I'll figure out something fun to do. Brett and I will figure out something fun to do. Brett, you can join us, right? Anyway, we'll follow up with Brett on that. All right.
Right.
Great to see you, Silas. Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye.
And passing the talking feather. Oh my goodness. Hey, James, what's your cat's name?
This one here, then is Jessie, the female.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Walt
Welcome,
is
Jesse.
on the ground there.
Awesome, awesome. All righty. Anyway, Brett, yeah, if you can make it come, and I'm just so excited. My goodness, this is collective intelligence right there. It makes the case. Anyway, I'm ready to stop recording on this video, and then we can get on with other conversations unless anyone has more to say on the recording. And feel free, grab the mic and record. This is history in the making, so don't hesitate. Go for it, James.
No, I wasn't saying anything. Sorry, my mic is unmuted.
No, no problem. No
And
problem.
me, I'm doesn't happen real often, but I'm pretty speechless right now. Just
What? Marco speechless? Impossible. Unheard of.
it's just pretty awesome. You know, the pieces are coming together.
And on the Orwellian 84th block party, you can't make this up. On the same island on where Orwell was from.
I actually have to play Van Halen Jump now from the album 1984.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Let's oh goodness. Anyway, I'll wrap this up whenever you guys are ready so I can finally send out the email. I'm like way late on sending out the block party email. Anyway, let's take a pause anyway. I'll be right back.